Well, I grew up fishing from a tinny and it's one of my favourite pastimes. The one I started on was much smaller than this, but as I've progressed in my boating journey, I've been able to upgrade the boats. And this one here, I've had a lot of good memories on this. And the reason for that, I think, is how scaled back and simple fishing from a tinny can be. It's usually much safer, particularly the environments that I'm fishing in, and I don't need a whole lot of gear. I love how simplistic this style of boating can be. So what I'm going to do today is run through the essential items that I'll always pack and take with me whenever I'm fishing from a tinny. Well, the first thing that I'm always taking with me whenever I'm going boating is one that actually doesn't belong in the boat. It always lives with me in the car, and I make sure to transfer it across, and that's this bag here. It's a waterproof bag, fully waterproof, with a roll top. So if it rains, or fingers crossed this never happens, but I go in, all my essential items are going to be safe. So in here, I've always got my keys, I've got my phone, which has got my boat license on it, which is super important. Can't go out without that. I've always got a head torch, and they recommend a head torch because we don't anticipate to go out at night, but if you do happen to get stuck or you're out after dark, that's going to be super handy. I've always got over 1 litre of water and a really good quality water bottle. Some bug spray or repellent, that's always good. And one of the most important ones for me is a first aid kit. We're dealing with hooks and trebles and all different types of fishing equipment. It's always good to have a first aid kit on the boat. So this is a bag that comes with me every single time I'm going on the water. I pack it in the car, roll it up, and it just lives in the boat. Then you can do a range of different activities when you're out on the boat. For me, it's usually always fishing. And one of the really important things whenever I'm fishing on a tinny, particularly due to the size limitations you've got, we're not fishing in a really big vessel, is making sure that my fishing gear is always organised and compact. So it's not A, spread all around the boat, but B, if I happen to bring a mate on board, we're not running out of room. So this is my single fishing bag. This is the same bag I take with me every time I'm going fishing. It's got a couple Plano stowaway boxes in there, and that's everything I need. And that just lives in the back corner of the boat, and it's super simple to access. And when it comes to rod and reels, just while we're on the fishing, I always try to keep it simple. I'm big on just taking 1 or 2 combos, mixing it up whenever you want. I'm not a huge fan of having 5 or 6 rods in a small vessel like this. So today I've just got the one. I'm heading out on the flats and having a bit of a wade around. But just a really small little tip, don't take too many rods, because the more stuff you put in this boat, the more cluttered and the more dangerous it can get. Now you'll notice we're stationed here at the moment, and that's because I've got the anchor in the sand keeping us here. Now there are different styles of anchor, and you really need to know what style is best suited for the environments that you're fishing in, because some won't work in particular environments. We anchor a lot on the sand, so I've got a sand anchor, and then I've got a good boat length of chain. Now the recommended length of chain is always the length of your boat, even double sometimes if you're fishing offshore, and then a big long length of rope. So that's keeping us here in the moment. And I've always got a spare rope here too, in case I'm docking up on a jetty or a pontoon or wanted to pick someone up or grab a coffee. So that's always at hand in the anchor well. Speaking of the anchor well, I've got 2 life jackets in here, which always come with me. This one is one of these really nifty modern ones that I can wear and fish, and it's not too much of an impediment when I'm casting. So I'm always have that one on when I'm out in the water. And then I've always got a number of these depending on how many people I'm going to have in the boat on any given day. So it's really good to have both. This is for an emergency that you have to have, but this is really good when you're doing activities like fishing or just going for a cruise. Now any powered vessel, just like this one here with an outboard on the back, you will always need to have one of these with you, and this is of course a paddle. Now for a number of different reasons. Number one, just a really simple one. If you're in shallow water and you don't have enough water for your outboard to get in, you can use this to push you off. Of course, if your outboard breaks down, you can use this to get into shore. And another really nifty one to know is if you're ever in trouble and you need to signal distress, you can use this. So if you do ever see a paddle up in the air waving to you, it's a good indication that someone might need a hand. It's just one of those boating rules that you should know, and whenever you're cleaning the boat, never take this out because you'll one day need it. Now another bit of kit which is really handy to have is one of these. This is a fender. These go up against the side of your boat on the gunnel here, or can tie off to a bar like that, and they just protect the side of your boat up against other structure like a pontoon, a jetty. I like to pull up and grab a coffee from the local cafes on the water here, so they're really awesome to have at boat ramps. If you've got to wait to get your boat out, you can chuck a few of these on the side, and it'll allow you to pull up to the side of that jetty nice and easy. So there's a few of the items that I'm always packing when I'm heading out in a tinny, but that is enough talking. It's a beautiful day, the wind's backed off, we're gonna head out and have a little bit of fun. show you what being on a tinny is all about.